What up, what up, what up? Welcome to episode 3 of the NGShip Podcast with me, Ruby V. Massive shout out to everyone who has been rocking with me and sending me feedback for the past 2 episodes. If you haven't listened to them, they're still available for you. The first episode is a conversation with Nasty C, who's a South African recording and performing artist who got recently signed to Def Jam Records. And you can get into that whole conversation. He's releasing an album soon, so get into that, listen to that. And then the second episode of the podcast features Tony Blackman, who's a US hip-hop ambassador, a founder of hip-hop meditation, and also Rhyme Like a Girl. In that episode, we discuss mental health and well-being, and of course, women in hip-hop and hip-hop's role in mental health as well. So if you're a mental health enthusiast, if you're a hip-hop enthusiast, if you love dope conversations, I advise you to go ahead and listen to that episode right about now. Now, episode 3, I'm just going to be doing the podcast solo today. And the reason is because it's been a lit week and I want to share my opinion on some of the stuff that has been happening. So some stuff has been ugly, some stuff has been beautiful. So this is like partly kind of like a Ruby rant, Ruby musings. Is it musings? Musings? Oh my God. Ruby musings, kind of. So let's just get right into it. Let's get right into it. So Ethic is a Kenyan group of youngins who have been doing this style of music called gengetone. So they've really popularized, filthy lyrics, being ghetto, talking about women a certain type of way, making party records and all that stuff, right? So since the beginning, the first track was Lamba Lolo, which is like Kenyan slang for, I think, suck a dick, literally. And they were just, praising that. So over time, Ethic has become bolder with the lyrics that they put in their music. And Ethic, I'd have you know, is they're a young group of kids. They just cleared high school a year or 2 ago, so they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. They're just out here making music, I guess, and having fun. So Ethic have in their music before said lyrics such as Nitamwaga Bila Permission, which is literally when a man, like directly translated from Swahili, is when a man climaxes inside a woman without letting her know. They're like, we're gonna do it, and yeah, you're gonna give me the goodies. And the latest song was Soko, right? And on that song, they liken someone's pussy being as tight as a baby's pussy. So Kenyans on Twitter came for them, and they're like, yo fam, Ezekiel Mutua, who's our information and communication director, they're like, yo, Ezekiel Mutua, could you please ban this song? We don't like the lyrics, we don't like what they're promoting, we don't like the message in the song. And Ethic actually responded. I don't know why they do this all the time. They responded and they were like, we do not promote pedophilia in any way. Our lyrics are out there. It is subject to someone's interpretation and valid. How you interpret someone's message is not their fault. However, if the message is right there in black and white, how else am I supposed to interpret it? So you're gonna come on a song and say that a woman's pussy is as tight as a baby's vagina. And I'm like, how do you know this? How are you able to record this? Here's what I'm gonna say about this whole situation, okay? First things first, Ethic will definitely get what's coming to them. Right now, we're all dealing with the corona and, social distancing, and we're not meeting up in public, but they will definitely get what's coming to them. You remember what happened to that nigga that said, about a week ago, Babish murder? Yeah. He's been in jail this whole time. He might be released sometime in September. We don't know, man. We don't know. But they will definitely get what's coming to them. It is criminal to use those lyrics. Honestly, I think what it takes is just someone who's smart enough, who dedicates their time to this and actually nail these kids. Because at the end of the day, yes, they might be children, but they're above 18, right? Which means that by law that they are adults. Shame on everybody. Shame on everybody who's condoning this type of information, who's condoning this type of music, who's condoning this type of lyrics being out there. Shame on everybody who's condoning that and not calling them out and saying that, oh, hey fam, please don't rain on Ethics Parade. This is just a form of entertainment. But here's the thing. There's children listening to these kids. their fans are not grown adults, right? Their fans are not 25-year-olds. Their fans are 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds who are thinking that for me to feel how tight vagina feels like, I must go for that child. What are we saying to that? What are we saying to them? How are we directing them? Because it ends from it being more than just entertainment, it ends from it just being entertainment. It needs to be more than that. What happens to the kids that are coming up who are listening to Ethic and all these other people promoting such kind of lyrics and such behavior and thinking that, oh yeah, this is how it should be, this is the norm because the society or the industry is accommodating it as quote unquote entertainment? Where are the caregivers? Where did we fail as a society? When did we let this happen? To be quite honest, how we got here is from the very beginning. When we let them release Lamba Lolo and we were all like, oh, ha, 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 look at these crazy ass high school kids doing their thing, talking about Lamba Lolo, haha, it's funny. And when it drops in the club, it's all hilarious. We actually propelled them to this point and we should call it out. We should stop it. Rappers before or musicians before have said some stuff on their music that we have let go of, that we have let pass lightly. But we have people out here who are victims of rape, who are victims of being sodomized, who are victims of, sexual assault. Do you think that they're taking this music as just entertainment? Of course not. So shame on us as an industry, first of all, for being quiet about it. Honestly, all we do is get on Twitter and just be like, yo, Ezekiel Mutua, could you ban this song? And it stops there. Kenyans were very forgetful people. We get on there, rant about something for 1, 2, 3 days. It's taken off YouTube. Ethic goes back, records another song. We complain about it. They take it off YouTube. First of all, if this is the formula that they're employing to make sure that the music pops off, that ain't cool. This is Africa. We're a very reserved continent, and stuff like this is definitely not gonna pass. At the end of the day, their parents are still gonna be looked at like, oh, these are the men you raised, these are the people you raised. It's just not gonna pass in Africa. Nah, it ain't gonna pass out here, yeah? First of all. Then secondly, why is it that they still have access to recording? Who's recording them in the first place? Who's taking them to the studio? Why are you letting them release music with questionable lyrics? Why are you tolerating that from the very beginning? More voices in the industry actually need to come out and speak about this. Shame on us as an entire industry for not protecting the women that we claim to so much love and care for. Why aren't we saying more things? Why aren't there more influential voices coming out to say, no, Ethic, you shouldn't say this? Why are we turning a blind eye to this when we say that a musician is a reflection of the society? How is this not happening? How are there not more activists out here talking about what is happening? Like, come on, man. How do you find these lyrics appealing? How? The Ethic need to be investigated, to be quite honest, at this point, because how many chances have we given them? And they always come back and say, nah, that's up to you, in like an arrogant type of way. I've never ever spoken about this because Gengetone is not my cup of tea, but come on, man, when it really gets to that point where people are taking it too far in the name of quote unquote entertainment, it needs to stop. It needs to be nipped in the fucking bud. More voices, more influential people, more personalities involved in the industry, whether in the music sector, fashion, whatever, who've listened to this shit before and kept quiet, need to come out and say something. Yes, you don't listen to this stuff, but is it stuff that could affect you, your friend, your daughter, your cousin, somebody else? A stranger out there, a woman that you don't even know. We need to feel safe at the end of the day. So these people, we shouldn't just be talking to them and laughing with them on Twitter the way we usually do. More needs to be done. We need to call them out. If there's a fucking, license that you're given to record or whatever, like that right should be stripped away from them. Because as we can see that they're thriving on this whole, let's be explicit, let's get banned, and that's how our clout is gonna rise. But these are just young kids. Shame on their management for not guiding them in the right way. You've been here before. You've done this stuff before. You know how to handle yourself. Why aren't you teaching these children that they need to be in the right direction? Why aren't you telling them that no, if you're two consenting adults, fam, you can come through and ask me. Ask me if I want to hook up and we could hook up. Like literally we could come to a consensus to a point where neither party has to be, how shall I say it? Feel repressed. You understand that? Yeah? We should demand a reaction. as an industry. Shame on all of us, honestly, for being quiet. Shame on me for being quiet before. All these other times, I've seen Ecstatic, massive shout out to you. She's always calling them out every time something happens, and she's gotten a lot of heat for it. She's been told that, oh, you're blocking this, and they've come for a career and all that stuff. But for real, this needs to stop. We should demand accountability from these young kids. We should demand an explanation from these niggas. They should be able to tell us like what is really happening on the ground for them to be able to come up with these scenarios. And if this is not gonna stop, fam, we need someone investigating, finding out who they're with, who they're talking to, who they're hooking up with. Is it consensual? Are they doing the right thing? Or is it just quote unquote entertainment? Because it never is just entertainment. There's children coming up. There's children in primary school listening to this stuff. There's children, young kids, 3 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, who are listening to this and thinking that it is okay because it is being popularized. So honestly, fam, banning this song and taking it off YouTube is not enough. More needs to be done. We need to demand a reaction. We need more influential personalities and voices getting behind this and calling them out. We need proper mentorship for these kids. It's either they get the proper mentorship or they hang up the mic. Honestly, if they can't sing about anything else, if they can't sing about partying and getting girls without being explicit or feeling like they're undermining the women that they're hooking up with, they need to stop. We need an explanation. We should demand accountability from their managers, production, all the way downright to the artists themselves. It needs to stop being a conversation that is had on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. It needs to go way beyond that. We need to protect our women. We need to protect our kids. We need to be the society that's like, no, it stops with us. It ends here. This is how you need to behave. That's just my 2 cents on that. I don't know how you feel about it, but yes, of course, you can also share your opinion. My personal handle across all social media platforms is at JustRubyV. So feel free to challenge me on this, and also to add on to this, let's have a positive discussion. It's more about how do we fix it, not about pointing fingers. You feel me? All right. In other parts of the world, actually in other parts of Africa, so there's this video that surfaced of this dad who was beating up his kid in Lusaka, Zambia. So apparently he pays a lot of school fees. I saw the report card and it was about $6,000 per term and like $2,000, $3,000. It's very expensive, and it's in US dollars. Yeah, it's like the actual dollars. So he pays a lot of money for this kid to go to school, right? But this kid did not perform as the dad expected him to perform. So there's a video that surfaced in the middle of the week, and this guy was really yelling at this guy and being like, okay, you know what? I've done all this for you. I've sent you papers. I've taken you to school. I've done A, B, C, D, and you're still failing me. Like, what is the problem? Why? And he was hitting him so hard in the face. So that video surfaced, and everyone was just like, I don't find this any strange or different, because this is Africa. Stuff like this happens in Africa all the time. And it's like, no, fam, chill, relax. Here's what I gotta say. I know this is not popular in Africa, especially like, okay, let me speak for like maybe Kenyan homes where you can give your opinion as a child and your parent is like, oh yeah, okay son, thank you for your opinion. I actually take it in stride, or I listen to it. It usually is that the parent is law and the kid doesn't know. The adult is the one who says what's gonna happen, right? But here's the thing. A parent-child relationship is a two-way street, okay? And you can't come here and try to impact life lessons or values in their adulthood. It starts from raising your kid. Were you present in their formative years? Did you inspire them? In a situation where you haven't been present in your child's life and they've, just been doing this thing, please don't expect that in their adulthood is when you're going to tell them that this is important. I hope people don't take this the wrong way, but our parents right now, they're not cultured enough to understand the hustle right now. They're stuck on white collar jobs. They're stuck on become a doctor, become an accountant, become a this. And that shit just don't pay. We're in fucking 2020 where the creative industry is winning. People are paying bills of photography. People are paying bills of DJing and, being an artist and, being an artist musician and being an artist like painting. So for a parent to think, to be stuck in that, oh, you need good grades to actually succeed in life and just be popping out here, no. Nah. Get updated with the times. There's more that we can do right now without just being papers. Maybe this child isn't strong in academics, but when it comes to learning coding and all that stuff, they've been there. They've been going to YouTube, quote unquote, YouTube University and learning that stuff online. But you, because you're concerned with what the papers from school, the school that you're spending money on are saying, you don't get to understand that. You don't even have a relationship with your kid to actually know what kind of stuff they like. Like, what do you like? What don't you like? Where are you strong? What are your interests? What are your abilities? What are your skills? So this whole thing needs to change. First of all, spanking of children. I was spanked terribly. I was spanked a lot. I think amongst my 3 sisters, I was the one who was spanked the most, and I'm the oldest. And I had that conversation one day. I just brought it up lightly because sometimes you try to bring up conversations where you think you're trying to have an objective conversation with your folks, and then they're like, oh, so you think I fucked up? And it's like, fam, listen, I was just trying to talk to you, but alright, cool. If that's how you think. Spanking is such an outdated method of disciplining your kids. Communication, how about that? How about talking to me and asking me what is really up, instead of assaulting me and getting dragged on Twitter, on social media, and losing your job? Because this dad ended up losing his job at he was working at MTN in Zambia, and they distanced themselves from him. They were like, nah fam, we don't work with that dude no more. So parents need to get updated on the new way of doing things. Okay, there's a new way of doing things. Get your Wi-Fi, get internet. Ask your child, what do you like to do? What do you want to study? What do you want to learn? Put them in front of a computer. Take them to quote-unquote YouTube University. There's people out here who have actually learning skills on YouTube. What up, Diego? Who learned how to throw the javelin. And he actually won the world record in javelin throwing. And this man, get this, he learned all of this stuff from YouTube. So laying your hands on your kid is not the way to go, to be quite honest. And what's disgusting about this world currently or at the moment is life has become more about who you know and where you're at rather than what your papers are looking like. It's a sad reality. I mean, I'm not saying don't go out there and get your papers, but I'm just saying that is literally what is happening on the ground, okay? So yeah, don't spank your kids. If you're like an older dude and you're listening to that and you beat your child, there's other ways that you can honestly raise your child. And ask yourself, why do you feel the need to inflict pain on this person if your parenting skills were too perfect? If you did your thing, if you were there to provide the guidance, why do you feel the need to spank your child when they quote unquote fall short of your expectations of them? What about their expectations? What about their needs? What about their skills? What about their realities? Are you even involved in that? Or it's just about how much money you're blowing or you're spending to make sure that your child is getting the best life that they can get? Whatever best means to you in this context. Yeah? Alright, now on a light note, earlier in the week, DJ Styles had a very interesting live with Musyoka, who was celebrating his birthday. I'm really not sure how old he was turning, but I'm gonna tell you in the description, so you can read the description to find out. And one thing that I found out is Musyoka has really held the 254 music scene on his back. He's been a producer for the past 23 years, and he's given us hits from back in the day to presently, to some hits that weren't even released. He played some music by Nameless, by Bamboo, by Wired that hasn't been released, and apparently the portfolio, the catalog is way more extensive than that. So Musyoka has worked on Sauti Sol's album Live and Die in Africa. He also mixes and masters. It's not just the beat making process. He also mixes and masters. He's done work for a bunch of artists. Did you know that Musyoka was the one who produced the track Biceps by Giuliani? Yeah, I had no idea either. He's still the same guy who also did You Guy Dat Dendai by Punit. He's still the same guy who did Gentleman. He's still the same guy who gave Octopizzo that hard-ass beat for It's a Rap, man. That was legendary. That was quite That was quite something, man. And if you're still listening to the podcast up until this point, you can check out snippets from Code Red's live on my IG at JustRubyV. Just go get the wealth of information from Styles, putting you on game from what was happening back in the day to what is happening in Kenyan music at the moment. And one thing that I noticed about Styles is about Musyoka is that he's a very humble dude. And yo, it goes a long way. You wouldn't tell the amount of work, the amount of people, how extensive this dude's portfolio is until he actually speaks to you or you go digging. And it's impressive. More of that, please. More of that. Now, let me discuss the term underrated. I feel like this term underrated is overrated, to be quite honest. Let's just start with that. Everyone who comes into the scene is always like, yeah, song number one, I'm underrated. Y'all don't love me. Y'all don't appreciate me. Y'all don't listen to my stuff. And it's like, fam, listen. This is your first song. How are we gonna say that you're underrated or you're not respected or you've not been given the flowers that you deserve to be given if you haven't built up your influence in the scene? And I'm gonna speak about the hip-hop culture scene right now. If you haven't built up your presence or your portfolio enough to actually say that, oh, I've done enough work, my work speaks for itself, and people still don't respect me or people still don't appreciate me or people still don't understand what I'm doing, then you can't say that you're underrated. Give yourself time to put in work. Put the hustle in. Don't come out here into the industry and think that one song is gonna make you pop off. People have been making music. How many songs did Calligraph say he had to do? He said like 300, 400 songs before he actually popped off. And you're on your first mixtape, you're on your first song, and you're already talking about give me my respect. The industry doesn't deserve me or doesn't whatever. Like, come on, man. Relax. All right? Put in the work. Put in the hours, put in the money, put your back into it, and then come back and say, okay, I've done all of that and people still don't respect me. Nas is underrated. To be quite honest, Nas should be one of the biggest rappers, hip-hop artists in the world, but he isn't. That is one person I would say, that's one nigga who's underrated. Fabulous is underrated. Jadakiss is underrated. Those are niggas I'm saying that are underrated. So if you're on that level, maybe you could say you're underrated. If Cali had done all that Cali has done at the moment and we still didn't recognize him for his efforts, maybe would say he would be underrated. But nah, don't say that you're underrated with your first track. Okay, relax. Put in the hours, put in the time. It's gonna be alright. It will come to you. Be patient with yourself as well. Sometimes we come into the game putting like a lot of pressure on ourselves, like this is where I need to be, this is where I need to go, this is like by this time I'm gonna have done this. And when it doesn't happen for you, because honestly cracking the Kenyan music scene is quite a sport. If that doesn't happen within that period of time, then you're like, oh, you fall into a depression or you decide to quit your career or whatever. So just pace yourself, okay? Pace yourself, create a vision board, work towards that vision. And yes, I do know that hip-hop is about braggadocio and oh, I'm the best in the world and all that shit, but no, let's be factual at the same time as well. Alright, so I want to put you on to some new music that has popped up. Like, people have really dropped projects during this period of time that we have been in quarantine or in isolation. And one person who did drop an album, finally, his debut album was Nyashinsky. It dropped April 17th. It's called Lucky You. If you haven't listened to it, make sure that you go and check it out, man. It is a dope project. It has very interesting sounds. The lead single of the project is Glory, and that is on YouTube, so you can go ahead and check out that video as well. Somebody else who has dropped a project is the one and only Victoria Kimani. It has 9 tracks, and one feature on these tracks, actually it has 2 features. One is Ferigola and the other one is the Shrap God Butrus. Massive shout out, it was so dope to see him on that as well. So yes, Victoria Kimani dropped an album, Africa. Go ahead and check it out. Somebody else who has dropped a project is Ecstatic. I know people have been waiting for a minute for this shorty to come back on the scene, and last year she did drop the Tattoo the EP with 3 tracks. Kind of like created a lot of buzz online, so if you haven't checked that out, go and check it out. It was a birthday on April, I think 21st 21st or 20th, and she was like, yo, I'm gonna release some music. So Social Experiment is officially out for you to go and listen to. Go ahead and check it out. Somebody else who is creating such a wave with their music is none other than Kahush, who popped on the scene with Missy Wezi. But apparently before that, he'd been making music for like 4 years before Kahush actually became a household name, or popular out in these streets. So Kahush has dropped a project, and the project is called Nico. You can get it on all social media platforms, on all streaming platforms, so to speak. So Kahush, there we go. He has an album out there as well. Somebody else who I'm excited to get into, I haven't listened to this project just yet, but I definitely will, is Jack Quill, who also dropped his debut album, New Decade, Same Dreams. So I'm going to be checking that out. Jack Quill is a very dope rapper, very talented. He's got bars for days, he's got flow for days. So there, that is something that I'm definitely going to be checking out as well. And somebody else who also has dropped a project, last but not least, is the artist Nene K from Nairobi, Kenya. All these artists are actually from Nairobi, they're Kenyan. And he dropped his tape ROAD Volume 1. So you can go and listen to this new music. Do not be bored in quarantine. Other people who have also dropped projects this year: Silverstone Bars, Queen Pin, the EP, Boutros dropped 6 views to 8K Deluxe. It's on Boomplay. Go ahead and get that. Who else has dropped an album? Plenty projects have dropped, and plenty more continue to be dropped, and I'm here for all of that music. As I conclude this podcast, all I want to say is please stay safe during this pandemic. Stay home and reduce the risk of infection. Stay clean, wear a mask, and definitely sanitize. I'll be waiting for all your feedback on my social media platforms. Hit me up at JustRubyV on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. And let me know what your thoughts are on the topics that we've discussed today. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know as well. Thank you so much for rocking with me on episode 3 of the Kingship Podcast. Episode 4 drops next week on Sunday. Have yourself a great week. Peace.